City Kid by Mary MacCracken. Read by Thorburn. The Fire Within. Luke, I said, why do you like to start fires? Don't know, Luke said. Just like to watch 'em. They're pretty, all red and blue and orange, dancing around. The big fire last fall. Did you set that? Luke smiled, and I hated that smile. That one was real pretty. It kept on getting bigger and bigger till it was taller than me. Luke paused. There was no guilt or repentance in his voice, only admiration for the fire. The cops came, then the fire trucks, but they couldn't put it out. It just kept going. His voice sounded hard and cruel, not like Luke's at all. There was a fire burning within this 7-and-a-half-year-old boy, a fire that would destroy him if a dedicated but near despairing teacher couldn't find what fueled it and how to put it out. Chapter 1. Which one is Luke? I whispered. There, next to my desk, Lisa answered. The one not working, of course. He doesn't even answer when his name is called. Listen, I've got to go. Talk to you later. Lisa walked to the front of the classroom to continue the math lesson I'd interrupted. I sat on a radiator cover and studied Luke. I couldn't believe it. When they had told us at college that we'd be working with children who were socially maladjusted juvenile delinquents, I conjured up images of burly kids with bulging muscles and perpetual sneers. And now here was this little boy in 2nd grade who couldn't be more than 7 years old. I peered at him intently, saying his name under my breath. Lucas Brar. Lucas Brar. Trying to make him real. He shifted slightly in his seat, and I could see that his brown hair curved around his cheeks, so that from this angle he looked almost like a girl. There must have been some mistake, I thought. How could this child have a record of 24 arrests for arson, theft, and truancy? I shook my head. Something was wrong somewhere. But if something was wrong, something was also right. For the first time in months, I felt the beginnings of the familiar, soaring, ridiculous excitement that came with teaching, a feeling I'd almost forgotten since I'd become a student at the State Teachers College. I had entered in September, full of hope and determination. By February, I was full of disillusionment. In fact, until that day when I found Luke, I wasn't sure I could make it through 1 year, much less 2. So now I memorized him. The scruffy sneakers half the size of mine, the faded jeans torn at the knees, a plaid shirt with 1 button missing, and each inch of his small profile. I could help Luke now that I'd found him. I knew I could. And he would help me, too. He would make me remember there was some reason for the endless empty courses, the meaningless assignments, and the foolish terror of exams. I had known it wouldn't been easy going back to college at age 44. In 1970, the movement for continuing education had not yet become popular, and 99% of the members of the junior class at Union State College were under 20 years old. They walked the campus in pairs or clumps, ate in noisy groups at the student union, shouted cheerfully at one another over the blare of rock that poured from speakers mounted in the ceiling. I walked alone, ate my cheese and apple in my old convertible, and tried to learn to be heard over the sounds of the Grateful Dead. That was all okay. I was there to get a degree, to get certified so that I could continue teaching, not to develop my social life. I had remarried in June, and the excitement of living with Cal and trying to blend our combined 7 kids, age 15 to 27, into some kind of homogeneous group was challenging and absorbing. None of the children lived at home full-time, but they arrived in bunches on weekends and vacations and filled our apartment or country house with excitement, laughter, and dirty laundry. It would be difficult to give up teaching and go back to college after a 25-year interval between sophomore and junior years. But it was also the one way I could continue to teach. What I hadn't expected was the stifling boredom, the frustration of hours spent taking courses that had nothing to do with teaching, and most of all, the overpowering, unending longing for the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?